the Tigers Den podcast. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Tigers Den podcast, season 3, episode 3. As always, I am your host, Cole Gerard, alongside Thomas. We are here on this Thursday afternoon with the results that we were not predicting or hoping for.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, just kind of high expectations going into the game. Honestly, low expectations for that LSU team, and it really just flip-flopped itself. Obviously, LSU came out. They looked a lot better than what I expected from them defensively, offensively, and then Clemson, I would say offensively, was a lot worse than I was expecting. Defensively, I think we'll kind of get into it more, but I think we looked about as good as we could, but we just struggled on the offensive side of the ball, and it just caused us to ultimately lose the game.
Yeah, and we heard from Kay Klebnick on Wednesday along with Devin Sweeney this past Tuesday. And, past years, I think, starting with 2023, or really you can go to 2021 with a bad season to 2023, it felt like every post game was sugar-coated. Like Dabo, players, but it seems that this loss is we sucked.
Yeah.
And it was straight up, Tuesday, Coach Sweeney said, my quarterback sucked, we sucked, Garrett has to do better. And that the only narrative that played out was Tom Allen and the linebackers and the D line, which is true in the game. Two defensive guys that just really freaking surprised me. Not even surprised me. Ronan Hannafin, obviously, and then Sammy Brown. I mean, Sammy Brown is easily one of the best linebackers in the country, if not.
I mean, Ronan Hannafin, 12 total tackles, 6 solo, 1 tackle for loss, and then you got Sammy Brown. He's got 11 total tackles, 8 solo tackles, and 1 tackle for loss. And those two guys, I mean, you just watch the whole game. They're flying around the field. I don't think the score is what it was without those two guys. Obviously, there were some misreads and some bad tackling here and there. You're going to have that. It's just a game. But I think also looking at LSU stats, obviously Garrett Nussmeier had 232 passing yards. And then as a team, they had 108 total rushing yards, which a lot of people said LSU dominated Clemson in the second half. I wouldn't say dominate. I think they outplayed us in the second half offensively. I think our defense set up the offense multiple times. They went and got 4 and out and set up the offense, and we just couldn't perform. But I think if you put the defense from last year, I think if you put 2024's defense out there, I think
it's a 40-something.
I think LSU has 500-600 total yards, and I think we lose by 4 or 5 touchdowns instead of just 1. And as bad as it seems, the loss sucks. But I think people saying, okay, Clemson got dominated in the second half. We got outplayed offensively,
100%.
But at the same time, you gotta realize we were within 15 yards or a couple of yards from scoring with 50 seconds left. And in that situation, if I'm Dabo, I'm going for 2. I'd rather a loss sucks either way, but a loss when you're going for the win instead of settling. And frankly, looking at our offense, the way they played the whole game, I don't trust them to go out in overtime and perform. So, I mean, the fact that we were in that position, if we would have scored right there on the couple of plays that we did have guys wide open, looking back on it, I think you go for the 2, but it's just kind of that's playing that what-if game. Don't like to play that in this situation, but
yeah. I want to go back and, where you said that, the media, especially what's the analyst on ESPN, is it Heather Grimlich or whatever? I mean, I've just started to – I almost want to block her on every platform there is because she's saying that LSU came into Death Valley and, beat Clemson soundly. I mean, what is that supposed to mean? If that's the case, did we play good? Heck no. Did our defense play good? Yeah. But to say Clemson got beat soundly on their home field is not the case at all. And to say that LSU pure dominated Clemson is not the case either. With Clemson, as bad as they played, as bad as Cade Klubnik played Saturday night, as bad as we could not protect, LSU sends the blitz all game. We can't adjust. And you're telling me Clemson had a chance to win the game with 50 seconds left? That's not getting beat soundly.
No, and I think it's kind of a reverse of what it was last year. Your defense was on the field. They wouldn't say sucked it up, but they were giving up easy scores. They were giving up easy rushing yards last year. Well, then it was on your offense to go out there and score and match that. Well, then that game, this LSU game, was kind of reverse of that. Your defense put you in a position to go out there and score multiple times and go up by multiple possessions and multiple scores, and you just couldn't do it. I mean, it's just there. I think there's a lot of things. The main thing I saw and the main thing I kind of took away from that game is got away from the running game. Well, looking at that, to get away from the running game, we couldn't get any blocking up on the front. Our O-line, I will say they were blitzing just about every other play. You gotta have that blocking down to establish that run game, and I think LSU used that to their advantage. Caps off to them defensively, just sending that much pressure and just bringing it the whole game the way they did. Looking back at a couple of the plays, it was a matter of running backs could have cut outside, or you got to know lineman that doesn't block one guy and he makes a tackle, and if he doesn't make that tackle, our running back breaks out for maybe another 15, 20 yards. But it's just, I think the O-line's the main thing that's got to be better this week, and then that boils down to a lot of people were hating on Cade, saying that this is all his fault, and he did not play a great game. I will say that. It's one of his worst games I've seen him play. But at the same time, I think my thing with him is a lot of those he didn't need to scramble out like he did. I think if he just sits in the pocket and just stands in there for a split second or a second or more, I think he can make some of those passes he was trying to make. But at the same time, he just scrambles out and doesn't make his reads the way he needs to. So I think it's kind of offensively from start of the snap to whoever is running the ball, throwing the ball, catching the ball. It's just got to be better across the board.
Yeah, I'll answer that in a second. But we got Mr. Jason Diller to text line. Most of our plays were called as RPOs. The right read was made but could never find the open receivers. And that's right. Even looking at the third and fourth down on the last drive of the game, they were the right play call. It was just a lot of one look. And like you said, couldn't find the open receivers, a.k.a. Tyler Brown in the end zone wide open for a game. And
especially that third down play specifically, I don't know who it is on Twitter, but a guy went through on Twitter and was breaking down those plays. If you look at that whole right side of the field.
Dan Orlowski, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Orlowski. LSU brings their DB off of I think it was TJ Moore on the left side. Well, then they had the safety crashing down on that wide receiver covering him, and that's ultimately who we pass it to. But if you look at Tyler Brown, he is wide open. But also if you look at, I think it was Olsen Pat Henry and then Bryant Wesco on the opposite side, on the far right side, those guys, I wouldn't say they were wide open. Tyler Brown was wide open. But
he had 6.
Yeah, but the other two guys, they weren't wide open, but their guys, the safeties and the DBs were 10 to 12 yards off of them. I think you easily, if you make that read and say, and it's a lot harder than it sounds, or I guess it's a lot easier than it is, just because Cade was running for his life the whole game. But if Cade is able to see, okay, that DB is crashing down, the safety's coming down, and then just scan the field over to the right, he sees Tyler Brown right there. And even then, if somebody crashes on Tyler Brown, he sees those guys and he sees the secondary playing 10 yards off of them.
Yeah, and there was a lot of cases in the night. And like I'm the biggest probably Cade supporter that I know. I've been a Cade guy since he got here. But the quarterback did not play well Saturday at all, and he did, and he knows that, and he admitted to it, which I'm glad to see. Then the sugarcoating usually that Coach Sweeney would do. Not saying that he did that, but he was fired up in that Tuesday press conference. I haven't seen Coach Sweeney like that since Tyler from Spartanburg called. So hopefully that can flip a little bit.
And I will say Sweeney, he did kind of touch on that a little bit. He did say, look, these are some of these guys' first times playing live ball since January, December, whatever the last time we played. So they had a little bit of jitters. And I think I think Cade will be fine. I think he figures it out. It just sucks that it was against top 10 opponent at home.
And it's got to be the narrative,
SEC narratives, all the narratives, all that thrown on top of that. It's got to be hard. But I think if Cade can just take that time and settle down in the pocket, and that's kind of a thing. Looking back on a more than just the LSU game, Cade has done really well scrambling out and still making that pass. But every now and then, I would like to see Cade just step up into the pocket, even if it means him taking a hit. Hopefully it's not something injury prone, but just stepping up into the pocket and not always. You don't want to look at him and say, oh, well, he can make that throw, but he's got to be scrambling out. I want to see him just step up in the pocket and make a strong throw just straight up the middle.
I want to say a place that I didn't even think about, but where we limited a lot of penalties. Other than I don't know why I would bring that up, because a lot of play a 3rd and 12 basically into the game with that Ashton Hampton. Yeah. I go back and watch it, and I'm not disagreeing. I disagree with the pass interference call, but as late as they threw the flag, but if they're going to call anything, I would call it holding. Yeah. I'm not going to say he wasn't holding him, but I think the offensive line's got to protect better. We know that, and they know that, and I'm sure that's already fixed. We're hoping that, especially coming out and playing Troy this week. It kind of reminds me of the App State game last year after losing week 1. But I feel like we constantly bring this up every year, a topic that is after each game, not after each game. I'm sorry, but after a game each year is Garrett Riley's consistent play calling. It was bad. It was, and I think we're not making the right calls at the right time. We're not running the ball at the right time. And like Coach Sweeney said Tuesday, we didn't even give the freaking running game a chance. You didn't give it a chance at all. And I'd like to see not only just Adam Randall get a bunch of carries. Let's get Gideon in the mix. Let's get Easy E. Let's get Keith Adams. We have a deep running back room, more than we think. I think it could be a little bit deeper. I think it's a little bit more deeper than when we had Shipley, Maffa, Kobe Pace. I mean, they're not the big names like those guys, but yeah.
Dabo said Jay Haynes said he was coming back. He was doing good. And then he kind of tweaked his hamstring going through that therapy. But he said we will see him eventually. Obviously, don't want to rush that, but I also would like to get him back just because from the little that we saw last year from him, I really liked what I saw. Hated to see the way he went down in the ACC championship, just taking that one out of the end zone on that kickoff. But it is what it is. But I agree. I think that's a somewhat young running back room. Obviously, you've got Adam Randall, who pretty much has zero experience as a running back. You got Keith Adams Jr. I saw a couple of good things from him just blocking wise.
He can pass block.
Yeah, he's a big body back there. And then Easy E and Gideon Davidson, they're young guys. You expect them to mess up. It's about how they fix those mistakes and move on from that. And Dabo kind of touched on that Davidson didn't get put back in the game because he missed a blocking assignment. At the same time, you gotta realize that's a true freshman running back and trying to block one of the
Weeks brothers,
one of the best, if not the best, linebacker in the nation, Harold Perkins.
Yeah,
I mean, he's one of the most athletic, one of the best linebackers in the nation. Like, credit to him, he played lights out on Saturday. But you're asking a true freshman to block a guy that's been in college for 4 to 5 years. It's not many people are going to be able to go out and do that.
Yeah, we'll go to a few comments. We'll go to Pat Bockhorst on Instagram. Thoughts on the lack of snaps for Tristan Smith? I looked at my brother Saturday. I was like, "Where's Tristan Smith? Why have we not heard his name?" I guess I looked back at the play or the box score. I think he was in for 3 plays, maybe. And I think John Blau, the Post and Courier, asked Coach Sweeney Tuesday on where was Tristan Smith, and it was kind of like it was just a situation thing, and it wasn't the time for it, which I don't understand that. But he calls the shots, obviously. But I don't care what type of shape Antonio Williams is in. You're holding him out this week. Obviously, you're getting him ready for a tough matchup on the road against Georgia Tech next week. So I think you should see a lot of number 3 on the offense Saturday.
I think you have enough depth at the wide receiver. Obviously, getting Tyler Brown back, you've got TJ, you've got Bryant, you've got Tristan, you've got Cole, and kind of going. Don't really have a whole lot to talk about Cole, but I will bring up that Cade's interception, where it just kind of. from the end zone I was in with the student section, it looks like the ball looked a little bit overthrown, but also it looked like there was confusion on the route that was being ran with Cole and where he was supposed to be. But I think, and I saw somebody post this on Twitter this past week, or not this past week, but the week before the game, is Harold Perkins, while he is an athletic linebacker, he cannot guard outside the box. If you put him one-on-one with a receiver that has any sort of speed, he's done for. Yep. And I think looking at that play, I think it boils down to, I don't know if Cole ran the right route or I don't know what happened, but if he would have turned around the other way, he might. I've seen him go up and get some balls. I think he could have gotten that pass, and I think that's a first down. The safety is actually the one, Mansour Delane. He's actually the one that came over and intercepted it. But
I just think
I think my point is, if somebody on Twitter can say, okay, watching film from Harold Perkins, we know that he can't guard one-on-one outside the box. And as you're lining up, I don't know if that's Cade's call, I don't know if that's Garrett Riley's call. You see him lining up with one of your quicker receivers in Cole Turner. I don't see why you don't, say, okay, one-on-one, the ball's coming to you, be ready for it. Mm-hmm. Almost like calling an ISO. Like you see somebody, it's a mismatch, hey, ISO,
get it to him.
ISO, ball's coming to you. Doesn't matter if it's 30 yards down the field. Doesn't matter if it's 5 yards down the field. The ball's coming to you. Be ready for it.
Right. I just think the ball was not placed where it should have been.
No, and I'm not saying that's completely on Cole. I do think the ball was a little bit overthrown, but also
there was a lot of guys in the area as well.
That kind of goes back to my point where I almost think Cole didn't run the right route because he was kind of looking left.
It was a little behind the ball.
He was cutting left on kind of going across the field. Yeah. And it's almost like Cole or Cade was expecting him to cut right. And I think there was miscommunication, which I think that happens in a game. It happens in wins, happens in losses. You're going to have that. But it just sucked that it happened at that time because I think that's what led to LSU going down and scoring the way they did.
Yeah, it sucks the way it happens, but we're going to go to Twitter text. Peanut says, the only thing I couldn't understand is why we didn't use any quick games. Some screens to Adam Randall, Tyler Brown, etc. I would also like to see some more 2 tight end sets while we develop these running backs and pass protection. Defense looked elite. 47 is the best linebacker in the country, but overall we'll be all right. And on Detroit. I agree. You got to get some screens in there. Just not even just to do it, just to throw them off a little bit. You got blockers ahead of Tyler Brown. If you throw blockers ahead of Tyler Brown and Adam Randall, it might be 6. And, obviously I agree with the same.
I will say there's one play. I can't really remember when it was in the game. I'm sure y'all have seen the clips. There's a screen pass where Tyler Brown is the guy on the screen. Had it wide open. I think he at least could have gotten 15 to 20 yards. But the ball is just thrown behind him, and that causes him to fall back, and which ultimately caused.
I know something. We had to go down and get it. It was a bad pass.
It was a bad pass. I mean, simple as that. But then there was another. I think I don't know if it was a screenplay or something, but it was a quick route to TJ Moore.
He fell,
and he just slips in the field.
And that was just a turf. That was turf monster there.
Yeah.
But that was easily a first down.
Yeah.
But with blockers in front of him, who knows? And it's just one of those plays that you wish you could get back.
And I like what he said about running some 2 tight end sets. I mean, I like what I saw from Olsen Pat Henry, and I also like what I saw from
You got to get Christian Bentacure the ball.
I like what I saw from him. Yes. And even to be able – he fell at the end of that run, but he lower his shoulder and lay that guy out and then continue to run. And it kind of goes back to what I said. Running 2 tight end sets kind of goes back to what I said. It's hard to expect a true freshman running back to block Harold Perkins. That's – especially when he's I think like 5'9", 5'10", and maybe like 200 pounds. Harold Perkins is 6'3", 6'4", probably closer to 240, 250.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of plays in a lot of the early running plays that I saw, like clips on Twitter, where you just had Adam Randall or you had Gideon Davidson or Easy E trying to make blocks on the linebackers that they're just a lot bigger than them. It's nothing that they can change. I mean, other than being stronger, but that's not a dig on them. It's just experienced linebackers who have a size advantage. And I think if you put in those 2 tight end sets or even just a little bit more size and strength back there, I think you kind of take that out of equation. And I will say, looking at the same clips, just the O-line, they were they were just getting tarnished up there on that front seven. It was just, honestly, it was embarrassing, but at the same time, I think that's where you got to tip your cap to LSU. That is what they game plan. That is what they planned for, and we just weren't ready for it. And it was hard to make adjustments, and I didn't see any adjustments made, but it is what it is.
Yeah, Ricky Sullivan says one game we needed a bubble screen.
Not to mention,
can't agree with that more, by the way. Because
not to mention LSU runs the same exact.
When the running back moved, when the running back was it when the running back shifted?
When the running back shifted, and the three
wide
receivers are set
snap
up,
throw.
They run the same freaking play 6 times in a row and get 2, and if I can remember, maybe even 3 first downs in the same drive, the same possession. And I'm just like, as a defense, why? How do you not realize that? It's just like, okay, first time you got us.
Yeah.
Second time, okay, you could have ran something differently.
It was all quick. It was quick.
I mean, it was quick. And I will say, I think that is another thing defensively. Looking at Garrett Nussmeier, is there were a couple times the defense was just not ready. It'd be 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. LSU goes up and they set up on the ball and they just dive Garrett Nussmeier down the middle, and our defense was not ready for it and not set.
Talking about when he was kind of like he was changing the play,
like he was changing, then
he gets 2 yards.
I mean, the defense just has to be ready for something like that.
Yeah. Dog says let's rebound this weekend, and we will. We know that. It just sucks losing a game like that or losing a game like that, but. There's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can control. We can complain all we want to, but at the end of the day, we know Clemson's going to be fine. Let's go to Instagram. Dylan Line says, we had that middle screen wide open, and Cade couldn't hit Tyler Brown at this point. Yeah, we just brought that up a second ago, how Tyler had to go down and get it. But it just felt like one of those games. And I will say this too. The first drive, or let's talk about going into half. With a couple minutes left in the second quarter, we had a chance to go up 17-3.
Mm-hmm.
We had a chance to go up 17-3. Didn't get any points out of there. We go to half. It's 10-3. 10-3. First drive of the third quarter, we kick that field goal. We miss it. I think if you make that field goal to go up 2 possessions, you win the game.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. That's when the whole game flipped. We missed a field goal. LSU got the momentum. They scored. Next drive, we throw an interception.
Yeah. And look, I'll bring it up. The pass that got called incomplete that they thought it was a touchdown. I didn't know the exact regulation and rule about that the ball had to be controlled all the way out of bounds to the ground if they're falling.
Yeah. People's got to realize when you're catching a ball in the end zone and going down to it, that is not the same thing as you running the ball and crossing the line. People say, he crossed the line. It doesn't matter.
Have possession going into the end zone. And I think that's what people had a hard time understanding is he didn't have possession going into the end zone. He was catching it while going through the end zone. And frankly, I'm glad they called the same thing Sunday against at Virginia Tech and Carolina. I mean, at least. And I'm not saying I agree with it. I agreed with it at the time because it didn't.
Well, I think so. You got to make a football play with the ball.
Yeah.
And the guy from the AP poll at the media availability Tuesday asked Coach Sweeney what he thought about it. I mean, what do you expect your head coach to say after he just lost the home opener if he agrees that the call should have been overturned?
I'm sure there was a lot of calls, especially the pass interference in the end zone that got called. I'm not saying.
I think that Wade Woodaz one was stupid.
I'm not saying it wasn't pass interference. My thing is, I think you let the referees let their emotions or they kind of control the game and control the emotions sometimes on their timing. If you're going to throw a flag for pass interference, call it as soon as you see it. Don't wait till you see the receiver either catch or drop the ball.
Don't wait till the play is over and then you look at everybody and throw the flag. You call it when you see it, and I won't be mad.
I'm standing there probably 20 yards away from the referee, and I see the play happen. I'm like, that could have been pass interference. And then he just stands there, and I'm talking at least 5 to 10 seconds, and then the flag comes, and I'm like, you're just doing too much having your hand in that game, especially trying to. And then that's when you've got the fans throwing water bottles on the field, and it's just
beer.
I didn't see any. I guess people were trying to conserve the beer, so they were throwing the water on the fields. But I mean, not saying I disagree. I mean, I disagree with the call at the time, but I think as a referee, you can't. And I think that's the biggest problem that I've seen just watching football over the past couple of years and pretty much my whole life is a lot of times when it comes to pass interference, referees will wait to see if the receiver caught the ball or not to throw that flag. And I think that's stupid. I think if you see holding or you see the pass,
you call it where you see it.
You call it no matter whether the ball is caught or not.
Yeah. Well, I think, Saturday, you just got to lay a beat down. You do. You have to lay a beat down on them. We'll go to Ricky Sullivan again. What do you guys think? Our freshman miss a block on his first play ever and gets benched for the rest of the game. If you're talking about I think he's talking about the Gideon Davidson situation. I think it's one of those things where you don't want to send him back there to I don't know how to put this. I think this is just my opinion. I think it's one of those things you don't want him to mess up so badly again that it does that. I don't agree with just taking him out, but I think that goes to the play calling.
Yeah.
I think there had to be something where they didn't see, okay, I don't know.
And it's kind of going back to what I said earlier is that's a lot of, you're a college football player. That pressure, you're supposed to.
It's a lot of pressure in your first snap, for sure.
Under pressure, but as a freshman running back, and I'm gonna find what the size of Harold Perkins, and then I'm gonna find the size of Gideon Davidson. But that's a lot. That's asking a lot from Gideon Davidson to.
I think Gideon's maybe 6 foot.
Give me a second. I'm gonna find this.
Nah, man, you're good. Just because,
let's see. Gideon Davidson, he's 6 foot, 200 pounds, and Harold Perkins, he's 6'2", 225. While a lot of people would say, okay, the size and the weight difference is not that big a deal, you got to also realize that Harold Perkins is a junior in college. He has had 3 years of working out in college, and frankly, I mean, I don't think that's smart. And I'd be like, even if I was an LSU fan, I'd be like, why are they sending this true freshman to block Harold Perkins? I mean, that's just insane.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, I don't think you take Davidson out the whole game. Obviously,
you got to figure something out.
Obviously, I mean, most of the line missed a lot of blocks. And they didn't get taken out the whole game. But at the same time, it's just kind of one of those things where you got to learn from it and you got to improve and fix that mistake.
We're going to Ricky Sullivan again. Losing Barnes and Williams was tough. Yes, anytime you lose one of your best defensive guys, like Khalil Barnes, that's tough. But a big name is Antonio Williams because I think that changes the rest of the game. Yeah. I think it changes the game plan. I mean, especially losing your wide receiver one on the first drive of the 2025 season. There's so much set to this game plan with Antonio Williams' number called.
And it's not even the fact that he's our best wide receiver.
He's the most experienced guy.
The most experienced guy out there on the field in that wide receiver room.
I think he's the most experienced guy on the field.
And at the same time, it's not just, we can throw it deep to Antonio. It's also, we've run some sweeps and stuff with Antonio. He's got that speed. He's got that shiftiness. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they just didn't have a backup plan for him going out. I think we might have seen we probably might have seen some plays get called offensively, including him, like some sweeps and stuff. And when he went out, I think it was almost, okay, we can't call those anymore, instead of finding another guy to step up and put in his place to call those.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, if you're going to be a Power 4 conference team, Division I, you gotta be prepared for anybody to go down at any moment. And I think it sucks, but losing Antonio Williams on the first drive of the game definitely changed the game plan. That's your targeted wide receiver, the most targeted. We're going to end on that. We're going to quit talking about this LSU game. We're going to put that behind us. We're going to move to our college football pick'em, and we are going to go to the first game we are going to do is Michigan, number 18, Oklahoma hosting number 15, Michigan Wolverines. Oklahoma comes in this game as a 4.5 point favorite.
It's in Norman, isn't it?
In Norman, in Memorial Stadium, Norman, Oklahoma. I mean, Brent Venables is coaching for his job. It's either Brent Venables wins this big game or sees what the season looks like, or he might end up back in somewhere in Clemson, maybe on a defensive analyst role. I don't know, because Tom Allen looked really good.
Selling real estate like Jeff Scott.
I was in a space Wednesday. No, Wednesday was last night. It was Tuesday. And somebody joined my space and said, I got a great idea if Garrett Riley doesn't work out here and there. We're gonna go get that guy off Lake Kiwi to tell him to stop selling real estate and get him back. I love Jeff Scott, but Jeff Scott ended on a great note at Clemson.
Yeah.
You would not want to come back to you ended on a great note. You won you played in 3 national championship games. You won 2. You won 2 national championship games. You made the playoffs 4 years in a row when he was here. You end there. You don't want to come back to clean up somebody else's mess.
And not even that. It was his guys. It was his recruits.
Right.
He was out there on the road recruiting. I would even go as far to say the game of college football was a lot different when he was coaching
Day and age.
than it is now. So I mean, he was actually. It wasn't like he was out there trying to basically bidding for some of these players. He was out there just basically pushing, hey, come to Clemson if you want to be great. And as much as we joke about it, as much as we talk about it, it would be nice to have him back. But also the playing style, the talent, everything across the board is so different from what you saw from him back in the day.
Yeah.
I just don't think it would be the same thing that you get from him.
Yeah.
And I think Venables is kind of the same way. I think he's stepped into a role from, okay, I'm just going to get defensive guys to, okay, now I've got to go get a whole team. I've got to worry about multiple sides of the ball, offense, defense, special teams, that kind of thing. But I'll go ahead and say this. I'm not a Michigan guy. I don't like Michigan.
Not a Connor Stalions guy?
I don't know what it is. I'm not a Michigan guy. And not really an Oklahoma guy. When I was younger, didn't really like Baker. Thought he was kind of
a douche.
Yeah, but I mean, looking back on it now, as I'm older and I watch college football,
He was a legend.
I mean, he was great at what he did. I mean,
Yeah.
That's why he won the Heisman.
Never beat Clemson, but
Never beat Clemson, but that's why he won the Heisman. But I like what you said. Venables, he's coaching for his job this season. I mean, if he does not produce something decent this season, I think he's gone back to wherever it is. But Michigan coming into Oklahoma, I think Oklahoma, I think the team is ready for a big win. I think the community is ready for the big win, and I think Venables is ready for a big win. So I'm taking the Sooners on this one.
yeah. Number 15, Michigan comes into Norman. Like I said, Brent Venables coaching for his job. Junior quarterback John Mateer for the Sooners, 30 for 37 on the year, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. But freshman sensation Bryce Underwood coming into town, 21 for 31, only 1 touchdown on the season. I think Norman is going to be rocking tomorrow. Even don't they have? I think in Norman they have like a pre-game parade every Friday. I think I've seen it when remember that punter that used to vlog for Oklahoma. He's good, but I think Norman's going to be rocking. There's going to be a lot of Michigan Wolverine fans there. I think Bryce Underwood, the freshman, gets the job done to beat Oklahoma on the road. I'm going 31-27. You have a score prediction? It's kind of hard to predict these games.
I mean, my first prediction that was Clemson beating LSU by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And then here they go losing 17-10. I also thought more than 21 points was going to be scored in the Texas-Ohio State game, and you see how that is.
Yeah.
I also predicted the South Carolina score is going to be a lot higher, and it's 10-8 going into the fourth quarters. I mean, it's just – I think it was week 1 for everybody.
It was week 1 for everybody. That's a good way to look at it.
It was week 1 for everybody. Some teams were on the better side of things, better side of week 1, winning their games, and then other teams weren't. And Clemson was one of those, but it is what it is. You suck it up, you move on, you take it to the chin, and you be better this week.
That's all you can do. We're going to take it now to SMU versus Baylor. I think this game's in Waco, or not Waco? Is it Waco?
Waco.
No, they're playing at SMU. Is it? It's not Waco, is it? It's like, what are you talking about? This game's at Gerald Ford Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Kevin Jennings, man, one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year. I'm not a big believer in Kevin Jennings this year, and I'm not a huge fan of Rhett Lashley. I think they came into the league last year for a first-year team and just thought they ran the league. And they found out really fast in Charlotte when we were there for the ACC championship. But looking at this Baylor team, man, they're no good. They're no good. I watched SMU today. Actually, I was eating lunch at Max Drive-In. They had the SMU game on the TV, and they were just beating up on Eastern Texas A&M State or something, but I'm gonna keep this simple. SMU wins the game. Kevin Jennings actually has a good game. I'm gonna go 31-10.
And I'm kind of the same way. I don't know much about SMU, and I know less about Baylor. Uh, Baylor they lost to Auburn last week, which I think they kind of held close with Auburn. But I think SMU, like you said, they came into the ACC. They played lights out last year, lost in the championship, and then lost first round of playoffs to Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
I think they kind of have wouldn't really say a chip on their shoulder, but more kind of like a vengeance tour. Like, okay, this is what we did in the ACC last year. We don't want it to be a fluke. Oh, it was their first year. That's why they played that way. I see SMU going pretty deep in the ACC and potentially meeting Clemson back in Charlotte come December. So I'm going to take SMU. Noon game, CW Network. Nobody likes those. Those always suck. I swear the noon CW matchups, Clemson never plays great in those. So I frankly don't see this being a high-scoring game. I think I see SMU going 21-10.
Yeah, Rudy Gore says he's got Baylor at -6.5. Okay.
We didn't ask Rudy.
We're going to go to Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. Dan Lanning versus Mike Gundy. And this one's not going to be close. Dante Moore, quarterback for the Ducks, against Zane Flores, 13 for 20 on the year, no touchdowns. Dante Moore, 18 for 23 for 3 touchdowns. I think this Dan Lanning team, they're good. They're really good. I mean, they're a top 10 team in the country, obviously sitting there at number 6. I mean, it's a 27. I mean, Oregon's a 27.5-point favorite. This game's not going to be close. I'm going to keep it simple. Oregon soundly defeats Mike Gundy and the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Still, 2 teams I know very little about, but I know Oregon, Austin Gabriel still return some pretty good guys. I think they take care of this one. 35-13.
Yeah, going in the comments, Ricky Sullivan says Oklahoma 28-17. I think it's. I want to believe in Oklahoma so bad. I really do. And I didn't put a couple of these games on our stream, Thomas, but we're going to go to a game that I just overlooked. And I don't have it on the clicker, but it is Ole Miss traveling to Kentucky. Both teams sitting at 1-0. I don't know who the quarterback for Ole Miss is this year. Austin Simmons coming in here 20 for 31, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions against Zach Kalazda, 10 for 23 and an interception. Last year, this game was played in Ole Miss, in Oxford, and the Wildcats came in and got the job done, kind of, dismantled the Rebels and Jackson Dart's playoff hopes. Ole Miss is going to bounce back this year. They're going to bounce back this game. They're going to Lexington, Kentucky. Former Clemson wide receiver Troy Stellato is now with the Wildcats. I'm going to pull up and see if he played versus Toledo. I'm guessing he did. I mean, they took him from here. He had no catches. He had no – or that's Toledo. I'm sorry, Troy. Troy Stellato, still none. Still none for him. Yeah, but Ole Miss traveling to Lexington, Kentucky. I got the Rebels. I'm going 45-17, and I think this is Stoops' last go-around with the Wildcats.
Every year, Kentucky's one of those teams in the SEC that people – it's 50-50. You got people saying, oh, they're going to suck this year, and then you got people saying, oh, they might be decent this year. It's the same thing every year. Don't see Kentucky doing much this year.
It's another 6-6 year. Maybe. Should it be Jordan?
5-7. I mean, yeah. They'll. There's a couple games that they'll play close. They'll think they'll win the game. I think against South Carolina, they may score first and like, oh, we got this, and then the rest is history. But I'm taking Ole Miss in this one. They're an 8.5-point favorite. I'm hammering that spread personally. I think Ole Miss definitely covers that, but I don't have a score prediction, but I definitely would take this.
I think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's one of those games, they're going in there with a chip on their shoulder, especially losing at home last year against a terrible Kentucky team who didn't make a bowl game. I like Lane Kiffin, but I think he's a smartass. Sorry for my language, Mom. But I don't like Lane Kiffin. I think he just runs his mouth on social media. I think he just thinks his teams are a lot better than what they really are. He's constantly posting on Twitter about other teams than his own team.
Yeah.
I mean, he keeps talking about the college football playoff and why the SEC deserves so many automatic spots, and how if you win your conference, that doesn't matter. You shouldn't just automatically make the college football playoff. You can't say all this stuff and lose to Kentucky at home. That's just me. But now we're going to take it to our game of the week, Clemson versus Troy. Clemson needs a bounce-back win after losing 17-10 at home against LSU. We open up as a 32.5-point favor. Jason, I'm sorry, Mr. Dillard. I'm gonna blur this out next time. Where's our mute button?
He's got a button for it.
It's somewhere on here.
He hasn't. Not that one. It's one of these.
It's right there. Oh, nope, that's not it. But yeah, Kay Klubnik and the Tigers need a bounce back win on offense, of course. But you're going to see the same defense you saw last Saturday, but a lot more pissed off with this Tom Allen defense coming in here. Wade Wood, Sammy Brown. I mean, it's the best front seven in college football, in my opinion. You got Willie Howard on the edge, Peter Woods, T.J. Parker, Maury Adams, Ari Watford, DeMonte Capehart, Stephon Green. But the real question is Saturday, can Cade Klubnik and that Clemson offense bounce back? And the answer is yes. This Clemson team is going to come in here fired up. It's kind of giving me an App State. It's reminding me of this App State game coming. Yeah. But the difference is we didn't get blown out by LSU. Did we play good? Heck no. Did our defense play good? Yes. And I thought our defense played well in Georgia. But once your defense stays on the field the entire game, there's nothing you can do.
They stay on the field for 37 minutes of the game.
Yeah. So something's got to be done, but I predict us to lay the hammer down. And I think this is the game where I want to see 4 complete quarters of Clemson football. I want to see 4 complete quarters of Cade Klubnik in that first team offense. I'm all about getting the backups in. But after Saturday's offensive performance, you got to let the steam out. You have to let Cade Klubnik in that first team offense roll for 4 quarters. I know Coach Sweeney has always been a big believer in respecting his opponents. I still think you respect them either way. But this is a game that you run up the score and you don't give a crap about it. You want to look to put up 75 points. Your defense is going there. The defense is going to go in there and make the appropriate stops. Yeah. It's all hands on the offense Saturday. Can Cade Klubnik and that Clemson offense go in here and bounce back against the Troy Trojans, who people do not remember the last time the Troy Trojans came to Death Valley? I was in Dallas, Texas for the 9/11 game against the New York Giants, and me and my dad had spent the day at Six Flags. We're like, okay, we're playing Troy. It's going to be easy. We're going to go ride roller coasters and spend the day. And we're just checking our phones. And we're in a freaking shootout with Troy. I mean, we've been watching on our phones in between. And I remember Ray McLeod takes the punt back and drops the ball before the end zone. And I think Troy returned it, not for a touchdown, but just stuff like that. So Troy is one of these teams, I think they're a Sun Belt team that can sneak up on you, and it's not going to – I mean, they're going to come and fired up. They're looking here – it's going to be like the App State game. Last year on that 3rd and 7 – I think it was like 3rd and 17 against App State, or maybe not even 3rd and 17. But those App State fans were loud last year in that upper day. They went their little third down chant, and then Cade Klubnik just drops back, slings it to Bryant Westco. So, like I said, I want to see 4 complete quarters of Clemson football, especially that first-team offense. I want to see – fire Riley, my dad says. Can't do that just yet. But I do want to see 4 complete quarters of this Cade Klubnik-led offense, and I just want to see him get that confidence back. Not saying he lost the confidence, but this is a game where you just want to freaking classic take you behind the barn and spanking. So I'm going to go final score. What I want, I'm going to do 2 final score predictions. I'm going to go what I want the final score to be. I want the final score to be about 75-0.
I don't want them to score at all.
We'll give them a field goal. We'll give them garbage time touchdown. But my real prediction, I think Clemson wins this game 56-3, 56-7.
I agree, and I agree with pretty much everything you said. And I don't want to see backups, second string, third string, anybody who's not on the normal rotation. I don't want to see any of those guys come in at least before the start of the 4th quarter.
I mean, sorry to interrupt you. This is just one of those games where I just want to see everybody smacking somebody in the mouth.
I want to see everybody smacking. I want to see everybody tossing the ball down the field. I want to see just all-out chaos from our team in a good way.
Yeah.
All-out chaos for 3 straight quarters, and then you put the guys in. And that's not a dig to the backup guys. I just want our guys to go out there, build that confidence, but also not just build the confidence, but but also go out there and show that you're pissed off. Show that you can play. And a lot of people aren't going to take it serious because it is Troy. Nothing against Troy, but it is Troy. A lot of people aren't going to take that serious, but that's all. Sometimes that's all it takes is let those narratives stick around. Go play pissed off, and it's kind of like what the Grambling State coach said this week about playing.
He said we got good bands. They got a good band.
He said, yeah, we got. They said, are you excited about the game? He said, what about the game? Bands? Yeah, they got a good band. We got a good band. And he said, no, I'm joking. We know what's about to happen this week. They know that they're about to get their tail kicked. And I want Troy to feel that way. I want Troy to come in this game thinking, we're getting paid to play here right now. We're getting paid to look at a cool stadium, watch a cool light show, hopefully if it's dark enough. But they're going to put 65 plus up on our head. I hope that's what they do. And I'm hoping it's not a slow start offensively from Clemson. I hope first play I would not be mad about just taking a deep shot down the field.
Why not?
But
what do you got to lose?
No, you have absolutely nothing. I think you see Clemson taking this one away 56-3.
Yeah, and looking at last year post App State game, even in the App State game, I think we put up 38 points in the first quarter, and it seemed, it seemed that every game prior or every game past the App State game, we just competed. We competed our tails off. We continued to get better week after week on offense and defense. And sorry, real quick. It's kind of like we relied on our offense too much last year because our defense wasn't getting the appropriate stops. Man, this freaking Tom Allen defense, they're going to be fired up every game. So if Kate Klubnik and that offense can go in there for 4 quarters and just manhandle people, this Clemson team's going to continue to get better week after week.
And that's one of those things is last year we would go up big on teams. We'd be up on Citadel. We'd be up on Stanford, got teams like that. And then, yes, our defense was allowing them to come back. No, I wouldn't say come back, but allowing them to score to make if you just looked at the final score, the game would look a lot better for the opposing team than it was. But I don't want to see any of that this year. After last week, I mean, I'm embarrassed. It was embarrassing to deal with some of those LSU fans. I don't want to deal with that ever again. But I just hope the team's even more pissed off and more embarrassed that they pretty much I always see videos about it during the COVID year. Clemson at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech goes up 7-0 against Clemson. Next thing you know, the final score is 70-7. That's what I want to see from Clemson this year. I don't want to see, okay, we're up 30. Let's let them score 17-21, and then, okay, well, let's turn it back on. No, let's keep it firing until the very end. And if you're up by 60 and you want to put in your backup guys, that's fine. But just
last year, it seemed like
keep your foot on their throat until that very final one.
Last year, it seemed like when we were beating up on like NC State for a reason, we were kicking their tail last year, and it seemed like we were just letting them edge back. And one thing I liked against Virginia last year, I think we went to our backups and we let Virginia ease a little closer. Kate Klubnik comes back out there with 2 minutes left in the ballgame, deep ball to TJ Moore for a touchdown. I think we're at the point in time right now where we're playing for our respect. We're playing for Clemson. We're playing for, you got to win 11 games from here now. Mm-hmm. You can't drop another one, in my opinion. I mean, you can, but you can't. It's not the mentality. We want to go 12-0. So 11-1 is the goal. And this is just a season where you go and you give teams 4 complete quarters of your offense. And I brought that up last week or 2 weeks ago with our season 3, episode 1, when Kay Klubnik said, I'll tell you right now, we're going to give you 4 quarters of our offense. There's going to be no letting up. There's going to be no gas or no putting the brakes on it. I think Garrett Riley has to understand where he stood at Saturday. He knows he didn't call a great game. And a hot take, man, I think it's time to put Garrett Riley in the box. I think when he'll be in field level and eye level of play, he's got 80,000 people yelling, and these little headphones right here, I mean, I can hear the fan turner right now. These headphones right now ain't stopping 80,000 people. You can't hear. Yeah. And that iPad is not – you're not seeing what you see in that iPad when you're in the box and you can see the field. I would not hate, with Taj Boyd being the quarterback's coach, he has a headset now. So let Taj Boyd be on the sideline. Let Tyler Grisham, you got your wide receivers coach, you got your quarterback's coach. They can be in the huddle on the field. If it means that Garrett Riley calls the appropriate plays and sees what he can adjust to at halftime or sees what he can adjust mid-game, if that means him being in the box does that, why not?
Yeah.
Because Brent Venables, Wes Goodwin both stood on the sideline. Wes Goodwin didn't work out here. But Brent Venables did, but Brent Venables is a different breed.
Yeah.
But if it means that our offense goes back to Clemson football kind of offense where you come in Death Valley and you know you're not going to win a game. And it's changed because that's not the case anymore. And I hate to admit that. But when teams, Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, even Todd Boyd era, when you traveled to Clemson, South Carolina to play in Death Valley, you knew you were going to go in there and get your tail cut. You knew you were not coming out of Clemson with a win. And now it's just like people aren't scared to come here and play anymore. So if that means it changes by putting Garrett Riley in the box, I don't know why. There's got to be a reason he's not. But if it means better play, he can see the field better, he can adjust, why not?
Yeah, and I agree. And it's almost kind of going back to what you said throughout those eras, people coming in here not really expecting to lose, but not as much expecting to win. I think that goes back to what we've been saying about playing four-quarter football. What comes to my mind, and I don't know where this is from and where I've heard it, but basically playing 4 quarters of FU football. We're going out there for 4 quarters looking to kill on both sides of the ball. And I think as a Clemson team, especially after the loss to LSU that last week, that's what you need for the rest of the season. Go out there for 4 quarters looking to kill. Go out there looking for blood because you've already got the narrative. I mean, you already looked down upon because you're in the ACC. Yeah. You got to give them absolutely nothing bad to say about you. Okay, the ACC's cupcake, schedule's weak. It doesn't matter when you're going out there and you're beating teams by 70. If you're going out there and, putting up 60-plus points on every opponent that you play, okay, then they're playing cupcake, but it's not like last year that, they're playing cupcake Virginia or they're playing cupcake NC State where they allow them to score 50 points, but they also allow them to score 30 points in the third quarter. It's just I think to shut down a lot of those narratives and to kind of kill a lot of those opinions is you just go out there and you play. You're just ready to kill football for all 4 quarters, and you got to have that mentality every game, no matter where you're at, who you're playing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna leave it there because I'm gonna keep getting fired up. I'm gonna jump through this computer screen, but like we said, Clemson, Troy, in Death Valley, Saturday, 3:30. Clemson's going to beat the crap out of Troy. I'm afraid. So
we need it.
We'll end it there. But I had an idea, Thomas. Let us know in the comments, DMs, the Tigers Den on Instagram or Thomas Mathis or my Instagram. I'm thinking maybe doing like a Tuesday show, like a post, like a reaction to that Saturday game. We'll do a reaction show on that Tuesday and do our typical preview on Thursday or Friday. I think it would, be better for the viewers, get more content out there than just a typical one show a week. So y'all let us know in the comments, on DMs, and I'm Cole Gerard.
Thomas.
We will see you guys next week, maybe on Tuesday. So Tiger Tony says, what's up, boys? I hate you missed the show, Tiger Tony, but I'm sure I'll see you soon. So from Cole Gerard, Thomas Mathis, we'll see you guys on the Tigers Den podcast next week. The Tigers Den podcast.